Thank you for being here on our Q&A session. We are definitely thrilled to have you guys discuss this amazing initiative. So I want to start talking about the mission of the Landscape Award. This award celebrates the excellence in landscape design, innovation, and sustainability throughout the state of Florida. The awards are open, of course, to a diverse range of participants, from professional projects, amateur, private gardens, and of course, dedicated conservationists and community leaders. So the awards accept projects from public commercial spaces to private residences, restoration projects, and community initiatives. We're aiming to recognize outstanding projects that demonstrate creativity, environmental stewardship, and of course, community engagement. Aligning all of these with best green landscaping practices, and of course, the society's mission to champion Florida native plants and their houses. So this year we have two main awards. The Native Garden of Excellence will recognize one per category, and this award recognizes projects that demonstrate an exceptional commitment to incorporate Florida native plants into their landscape. And then we have the Native Garden of Honor. There will be several across all of Florida regions. And of course, this award acknowledges projects that exhibit commendable efforts in integrating Florida's native plants into their landscape. We want that award recipients will inspire others with their dedication to native landscapes and of course the commitment to environmental sustainability. So I want to go over a little bit on the categories that we have for this year's awards. The first one is residential landscaping. The requirement, of course, is 75% or more of the property landscape area or the project landscape area to contain native Florida plants. This is mostly for residential property. Then we have commercial and institutional landscaping. The requirement for this category is at least 60% of the property containing Florida native plants. This targets commercial, government, educational, institutional property, community areas within HOAs like schools, golf courses, and then of course, projects that encourage the use of native plants to enhance sustainability and ecological resilience. Then we have the next category is habitat restoration and conservation. For this one, the requirement is 100% of the project to contain or be dedicated to the restoration and or enhancement of Florida native plant communities. Projects in this category are focusing on, restoring degraded habitats in public or private lands, conserving native plant species, promoting ecosystem health and resilience, and we want these projects, of course, to emphasize native plant diversity, habitat connectivity, and ecological function overall. And last but not least, the pollinator and wildlife demonstration or community gardens, which also has a requirement of 100% containing native plants. Plants that, of course, support local pollinators and wildlife. This category highlights gardens that are designated specifically to attract and support native pollinators, wildlife species. Again, emphasis is placed on the selection of native plant species, habitat complexity, and friendly gardening practices and educational outreach programs. Again, like last year, rules for the awards are a minimum 2-year growth in period. That means before the submittal ends in August 9th. So any project installed on or before August August 2022 qualifies for the award. No plants listed on the Florida Invasive Species Council, either Category 1 or 2 list. And then, of course, completed applications must be received by August 9th before 5 p.m. on August 9th. Submit the requirements, pretty straightforward, paid entry fee, and the complete application form that includes a brief overview of the project, specifications of the category under which the project is going to be submitted, like, you know, it's a residential, it's a commercial, it's institutional, it's a restoration. At least we want a list and a description of the native plants used in the project. Landscape plans, in this case, hand-drawn sketches are also acceptable for any community initiative. You know, it doesn't have to be like CAD designs. We accept hand-drawn sketches. We want good pictures of the completed project. I think Charles is going to talk a little bit more about the form later, and description about how the project contributes to the creation of wildlife habitats. We want you guys to outline any water conservation practices, outline any soil or pest control management, if any. We want the project to demonstrate a commitment to long-term best green maintenance practices. And of course, educational outreach programs that have been conducted, such workshops, guided tours, or FMPS chapter field trips, or any signage that the project might have. I want to answer a couple of questions, or one question, that is how the percentage of native plants is calculated into the landscape. So maybe this is gonna answer some questions, and is the percentage of landscape containing native plants refers to the actual square footage of the vegetated area. So depending on each category, we want the percentage of the square footage of the land be for residential 6%, et cetera, et cetera. For institutional landscape, we understand that sometimes there is a large turf grass area. So grasses must be regionally appropriate, and of course, designed to minimize post-establishment needs for irrigation, pesticides, and fertilizers. What could be a good example that makes a project eligible for to receive the Native Garden of Excellence Award? So it will be a project that goes beyond, above and beyond incorporating Florida native plants. For instance, a residential garden that features a wide variety of native species, that has created local habitats, that uses innovative water conservation techniques, and, you know, of course, that integrates aesthetically pleasing design that makes these awards, these landscapes beautiful. So I guess with this short introduction, we can have Charles going over a little bit. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And of course, deadlines is very important. Sorry, yeah, I said deadline, August 9th, right? So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and then Charles can go, well, do I stop sharing? Yeah. And Charles can walk us a little bit over the action form.
Okay, thank you, Natalia. So hi everyone, my name is Charles LaGreca. I'm gonna be going into kind of just about the form. These are a few tips that I want to just dive into before we dive in. So as applicants, when you're going through this, these are tips I came up with. Of course, every juror is going to be different, but I think this will just help you have the strongest application. Is just these jurors are going to have a lot to read, so just keep your answers as brief and concise as possible. Everything that you're going to add to this application should just be relevant to communicate your design intent and just add up to this. We have some questions in there that are a little more nuanced, such as Natalia said, like pest management or water management or soil management. The reason we have those questions are just to kind of help us see if your design really aligns with your goals and objectives. So there are a million benefits that you can have that you might want to plant your native garden. Some people might do it for water conservation. Some people might do it because they want to promote pollinator gardens or wildlife. So, when you have your little project overview and you say why you did it, it'll help the jurors know, is this really a project of excellence? I think excellence really comes in with those long-term management strategies and those just the ways you're really aligning with it. I mean, we can have things that are beautiful, but if you're out there with a hose watering it every day just so it can survive, that says a lot to our jurors. So we want to make sure that everything is going to align and just be all add up to sustainable practices. So your imagery is really what's going to get recognition from the jurors along with this text. So make sure that you're really showing good images that show wide views, and I'm going to go a little more into that. And just really showcase the before. If I hopefully you have images that can help the jurors understand the before of your project, because that's going to be so helpful to them to really see how you transformed this site. And if possible, provide context. That's going to be so helpful just to the jurors as well. And just relax, be honest and authentic. You don't need to make this sound crazy professional or anything. It just all you're doing with this form is just helping the jurors understand how you achieved the results today and how you're going to move forward with it. So just don't worry about it being a paper. This is purely for the jurors to understand your project. And just make sure you understand all the criteria, just review the criteria before, and just make sure that everything you're adding into the form is kind of helping the jurors understand that you are totally eligible and qualify. So moving on, Natalia already showed you the website, but the way you get to this form that I'm going to show screenshots of is just by clicking this Apply for Landscape Award. If I Google 2000, just FNPS Landscape Awards, this page just comes up top of Google for me. So it's really not hard to find this page to navigate to it. You should just be able to Google that and then get to this form. So this is a screenshot to the left of the form. And I'm not going to read all the text on this, but there's a few different pages within the form that kind of dive into each category. The first page is just kind of the project overview page. You're going to fill out give your project a name, or if it doesn't have one, and just that's going to help the jurors kind of sort through. Select your category and just you're going to fill out kind of a text description just at first, just kind of helping contextualize, give a good overview of your project before you dive into the details later. This should just be a really good summary that, a elevator's pitch for your site, basically. And then this is where you're going to upload the main beautiful images of your completed project. And then right after, we ask that you upload 5 pictures of the before to help them understand. To the right here, I mean, I'm not critiquing the design of this project at all, but I am just showing as far as the view and the way these shots are both similar angles taken from similar places. That's really helpful. You can really see the before clearly and then the after clearly. So that's just, and you could see the scale of the design. You can see plant material used. You can see context. So these sorts of shots are really good. I mean, when I look at past applications, I do kind of see like sometimes just close-ups of a flower in bloom, and that's not the kind of stuff we need to see. We know what the flowers look like, we know what the plants look like. So really we're trying to critique the scale, the overall design, the overall composition. We don't need to just see images of the plants in a macro scale. Or micro. I always get those confused. But the next page is going to be just about the plant itself. So this is the opportunity for you to upload a drawing or a sketch of a planting plan that's going to show the species used in your project. These are 2 examples that I think would communicate clearly 2 totally different types of planting plans. Just so you can understand kind of what a planting plan looks like. One has more of a legend style. where they have a plan that keys to symbols. You don't necessarily even have to have symbols. But if your plan doesn't communicate everything in itself, and it's just you need to have a legend that kind of gives more detail. So this plan to the right over here, though, that one labels everything directly on the plan. You could see the species and the quantity right there. So that one doesn't necessarily need a legend because we already have that all there on the plan. But if you don't have it all in the plan, you do need a legend to kind of help explain what the plan is giving. So because some plans might be more detailed and they require a legend. And yeah, the rest of the questions are just gonna be just helping the person understand how sustainable this garden was built. Did you use an installer? Did you supply this all yourself and build it over time? Did you do it from seed? Did you uh get it from a local store? So just these questions, just super brief, just concise, but it's gonna help people understand kind of the practices and how how this garden was built. So the same thing as I said before, all these questions, we have habitat creation and enhancement, we have water conservation and management, we have soil health and management. So if your goals were to create a xeric landscape that requires zero maintenance and it is totally just appropriate for your native soils and it's creating habitat, all these questions and how you answer them will help verify and give credibility to all that and back up what you are saying your garden is going to achieve. The same with the chemical and pesticide use. And then not all the residential projects are going to apply to community engagement and education. We understand that. That's why all these are optional. And really, honestly, a lot of these questions are optional. I don't say it in every one, but as many as you answer, it's just going to strengthen your application more. But these are clearly stated as optional because they don't apply to every category as relevant. So, but this is going to help our demonstration gardens for sure, and commercial even, and just education is a huge component, and a lot of people in the Native community are very passionate about the way they engage and educate the community. So maintenance, like I said before, and then just aesthetics. So the thing about the landscape awards, you can have a landscape that performs amazingly as a native garden, but the way you achieve an excellence and like Natalia said, this above and beyond, it really does have to do with the aesthetics. And this is an opportunity for landscape professionals to come and how can we use native plants to make something beautiful and just create a space that is appealing to the eyes. Um, and that definitely applies to the categories that aren't just related to conservation or restoration. And the other categories that like residential and commercial, they really are, we really want you to sell the aesthetics about this. What was the design intent? I put this here because in the last page, it says additional documentation. We have maintenance schedules, educational materials, like just any other things. I kind of put this here because this is a bubble diagram. Like this is just something that it just might help communicate the design. This is just a pure opportunity for you to just have a miscellaneous upload of files that you think help communicate your design. So the planting plan goes into a lot of detail, and you kind of have to dive in and see really detailed about what's happening on a planting plan, but this bubble diagram clearly communicates the layout, the scale, the design intent of how it's going to use and function. So that's an example of something else you could upload here. So that's basically it for me. I just wanted to share and kind of go through the form and things to keep in mind. And thank you guys. Now me and Natalia are going to open up the floor for just all of your questions, and we look forward to hearing from you.
I can open from a question from Victor that he texted me if you'd like. Okay, great. He says, can I register a pro bono design and install that we did last year? It's 2,200 homes. It's a 2,200 homes community in Longwood, Florida that is causing a nice buzz in the community. The installation is next to the clubhouse.
But sorry, it's only been 1 year in the ground.
1 year in the ground. So that's a no.
We'll say next year, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I know are definitely going to just be applying next year. That 2-year growing period is just really important for our jurors to just really solidify the what was planted is going to survive in that area, and just really verify that the design is something that's going to stand the test of time. And you know, that we need that vetting period, I guess.
Yes. There's a question on the chat. Must the pictures be uploaded, or can we send hard copies? They have to be uploaded. Yes, this year we are waiting for digitally uploaded pictures.
Yeah, all of our jurors, we have 5 different jurors, and they all need to be reviewing it on separate computers and separate places. We're going to need to streamline this process for them, and for us to be able to do that, everything does need to be digitized. And we're putting that on the applicants to be able to streamline these applications for us to hand off to the jurors. And we really think that form is going to help us a lot. If you could scan any pictures you have, I mean, they don't need to be super high res, as high res as you can get them, but just getting them into a computer would be really helpful.
Or even sometimes some phones, have a good, you can like take the picture of a picture with your phone. You can have a scanner, then use your phone and upload them. The form is pretty user friendly to upload any digital images.
Anything else?
Well, I mean, in any event, there's the info@fnps.org email. We are receiving questions, Will pause visit. Not this year. Oh, that is an idea that we're thinking to be able to coordinate with chapters in the future. So definitely we won't have like a jury visiting. It's an honor system in a way, but if the project receives the award, there's going to be exposure on media and on all of our communication outlets. So definitely it will be a garden that will receive some visitors in the future. Oh, okay. Mark is saying, yeah, we can, of course, we can go over the benefits of, winning the landscape awards. And I think one of the things we were discussing this year with Charles is that it's beyond just what you're receiving, right? The awardees will receive a plate and will receive, certain things. But the idea is, of course, understand that it's important to become role models for sustainable landscaping, to use native plants in all of the projects throughout the state of Florida. It is a channel to protect native plants.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that the benefits go beyond whatever you receive. Yes.
And I mean, it depends on if you're an individual applying or if you're a landscape professional. But for landscape professionals, landscape designers, it's just something that you really can hold as a badge of honor for your firm, for your company. It's just, the standards and the requirements for the FNPS awards are, it isn't just an honor system. It's something that is just, and it's, there's a winner each year. It's not just you meet the requirements, you get it. So it's an award that is won, and it's an honor in that regard, that every year you want to try to win. You know what I mean? So it isn't just a standard checkbox. So let's see. Most of my plants were planted in 2020, but I'm always adding, so several may not be greater than 2 years in the ground. Is this okay? I think that's fine. Natalia's shaking her head, yes. I mean,
Native gardens are always evolving. There's not such a thing as like an static, and in any garden, it's not like an static thing. You know, there's
right.
always, they're always evolving. So
Mm.
yes.
And yeah, I mean, especially like annuals or, for just ground cover type seasonal like that, those kind of stuff that doesn't really apply to. I think we're mostly talking about trees, the large shrubs, just the whole overall structure of the garden that has to be in place by 2 years, and you can kind of dress it up from there as you hobby around in your garden. I designed a pollinator garden and sorry, it's not letting me see it, and had master gardeners proof it. As a residential garden, should I have a professional look at it for the excellence aspect? Or would I get feedback to improve and resubmit?
That is a good question. I don't think we have plans to give feedback, but that is something that we can definitely, maybe consider. That will also depend on the amount of submissions that we receive this year. But when you see a word of excellence, a garden of excellence, then you're going to see exactly what your design garden needs, to improve for next year. So if you apply for this year and you don't receive an award, you are welcome to reapply for the same project the next year.
And I just want to clarify, Heather, so you're kind of saying the excellence aspect, there's going to be one native garden of excellence per category is kind of how the awards are set up to work right now. And so to receive the excellence, you do have to just be the overall top performer of that category. So you can make your application as strong as possible. But it's not guaranteed that you will receive an excellence award based on that. I just want to make sure that's clear because your question kind of seemed like it might have, if you achieved excellence, you will get the excellence award, but the excellence award is the winner of the category. Okay, I have one exotic invasive tree that cannot be removed due to size location. I'm automatically disqualified from applying. Correct. I mean, according to the requirements.
Yeah, if it's a category 1 or 2, I'm gonna say if where could be, yes.
I mean, my suggestion to that person would be you could still apply. I mean, one thing we've discussed as the committee is a garden is not like strictly defined. So if what you want to submit does not include that invasive tree, like if your invasive tree is in your front yard, you could always apply your backyard as a garden, or vice versa. Or if you just want to specifically photograph and submit plans for the areas that don't include that invasive tree, that's a way you can kind of get around that.
Correct, Charles. That is important to mention that the project doesn't have to be the entire property. It could be just like a small designated area. And if there's a way for the project to exclude that tree, that's not part of like the main design. I'm sure it was not part of the main design. Then they have to, do the application in that way.
That was some good questions.
Yeah.
Did we answer everyone's questions? Are there follow-up questions to the way we answered, or is everyone good? Does everyone feel like they understand? When and where will the landscape awards be announced? they're gonna be announced September, I think
Working
mid September or first. Natalia is gonna pull it up, and they're also gonna be announced in the Palmetto publication, FNPS's publication. In what issue do we, can Valerie answer that? What issue it's gonna be? Or
So the award, December, yes. So
Thank you.
there's gonna be a spread. I'm sorry because I lost my calendar here. There's gonna be a spread for the winners in December. They're going to be announced in September. All of the media outlets. But the actual winners are gonna have a spread in the Palmetto magazine for December. There won't be a ceremony this year, an in-person ceremony, but we hope to have a ceremony for them next year. Okay, Heather, and we answered all of her questions. And again, this was just like an informal Q&A in a way. More questions can be answered via info@fnps.org. We're happy to, make sure that everyone that feels that you don't have to be a professional landscaper, you don't have to be like the project doesn't have to be involves a lot of money. It's just like little efforts that can be replicated throughout Florida are welcome to apply. So we definitely want, everyone to encourage others to apply, others to understand the mission of the Landscape Award, and of course, understand that they have a significant impact in our community. So I think that would be it for today, right?
Thank you so
Thank
much, Natalia. Charles,
y'all so much.
really great.
Thank
Thank you everyone for coming.